Hi, it's been a minute. You guys are going to see this video if I fix the truck because, you know, I keep breaking stuff. I'm very good at breaking things. Great even at breaking things. But in all seriousness, I've had a rough go at it since the truck was together. We're going through new build blues without a doubt. So we tore up the trans, tore up the converter. Everything else has been good. And then I found a broken U-joint and knuckle and the front axle, which was not really a big surprise, being this is a junkyard Dana 44 out of a Dodge 1500. So can't say I'm upset, but I also can't say I'm overly happy about it. So there's the carnage. Part of it is probably because this is a greasable U-joint. So if you see there's a hole in the middle, you lose a lot of strength there. So that's somewhat unfortunate, but now we're just trying to get this nut off so we can get the axle shaft out. And then I have this other axle here that will have a shaft for me. So then I got to take that one apart. So hopefully that one comes apart a little smoother than this one has. This one has been a major pain in the ass. This motherfucker. All right, so got the hub out, got the new axle slid in, but we do need an axle seal. You can see she smoked. They do look different though. Better check that. Pretty sure they're the same. Anyway, we're that far, so thank God we had the spare axle here. I'm probably gonna call it a night here. I might just get my tonneau cover on and then maybe weld in one plate. That's about as far as I'm gonna get today. So yeah. It's 1:20. I got some stuff to do from like 5 o'clock to like 10 o'clock tonight. So I gotta have this done by like 4 o'clock if I'm gonna shower and make everything tonight. So I have about 2.5 hours to finish getting the truck together, ready to go for tomorrow morning. I want to get it loaded up and everything tonight, so that way there's no BS in the morning. I'm just ready to go, hook up to the trailer, head down to Byron. Austin's coming in tonight. He's coming in late. I'm not sure if he's going to stay at the shop tonight. It depends on when he leaves work, he said. All right. Poor John's in the background. She's all ready to go, though, I think. I'm just going to hope that front axle doesn't break again, but they shouldn't. They're the same as the Dana 60s, and I haven't heard of anybody else breaking them, so I'm guessing it was just a bad U-joint. She looks good though. So I'm just doing a quick spool test, and once I know that's all good, we're gonna take it down the road, make sure it isn't four-wheel drive high, and then we're good to go. Okay, so we are currently changing the bump because I don't know if you saw, that was very aggressive. So it was at 0.082. We're going to bump it down to 0.050 to start. So that should have saved correct. And we're going to save this. Oh, not what I wanted to do. File, control. Okay, so this is saved. We're gonna upload this to the controller. Very nice. Try 0.050. All right, we are all set up here at Byron. Door is on. Just gotta clean out the inside of the truck. Daddy Denny making this Pro Mod look good.
Pro Mod, huh?
Ew, are those frame rails? That's gross.
You guys keep making fun of me about this being a Pro Mod. I actually have a Pro Mod.
And you're actually, out of everyone we make fun of, you're like the only one that's not back halved.
I know.
It's kind of ironic.
And I'm faster than all
Probably.
Not probably. You were doing team today?
You don't know that. You don't know what I put in that tune last night.
Is it going to make it back from the team?
I'm just kidding. It has like a 570 tune up in it. I'm not trying to go too crazy. All right, Austin might make bass. We are gearing up and heading up to the line. So I moved nitrous out. The second kit doesn't start until 1.3 seconds, I think it was. 1.2 seconds in, just to try to make this thing go down the track. The track's not very good today. So we're gonna try it, see what it does. Okay, so between passes 1 and 2, we turned the hit down 300 RPMs. Tried to make another hit. It did at least kind of go A to B. It's trying to spin still, and it's bouncing pretty bad. So we're going to try making some shock changes and maybe pull a little more power out of it just to see if we can tame it down a little bit. I have a feeling it needs a bar change though. Okay, so I kind of wanted to fill in some of the gaps here. After walking the track, before my first pass, I turned my second kit of nitrous completely off because I knew it wasn't going to go down the track with ramping as much nitrous in. And it still obviously spun all 4, just kind of did a cool little 4-wheel drive burnout. So then when I went back between passes 1 and 2, so going into pass 2, I turned the spool jet down to 75% max from 100, and we turned the leave down 300 RPMs, which is pretty significant. Like, that's a pretty big drop. And it was still trying to spin the tires. Chassis is upset. It doesn't like the new converter, doesn't like the new tires. It's bouncing bad. We need to make bar changes. I kind of knew that was going on in my head. And going into pass 3, I just tried making a shock change. I was talking to Paul, and Paul thought maybe it was too stiff because I have my shocks pretty tight. And so I tried actually softening the compression, which would allow it to weight transfer more and hopefully stay planted. That just made it worse. It damn near did a bunny hop for that third pass. Something I haven't really talked about with this truck is I want to be a perfectionist with it when it comes to dialing it in before adding power. I want to make baby steps. I want to get everything perfect before I add power, before I do this, before I do that. So before, the chassis was really happy. It was not bouncing. It was going A to B, straight as an arrow. With that bounce, I want to get that bounce figured out with no fuel in it. And then from there, we can start adding nitrous to what fuel we do have until it stops going faster with the amount of nitrous we have. Once it stops going faster, then I will add some fuel. I really do think that the same tune-up will go 570s, which brings me to my next point. I went 118.8 or something like that. That is fast enough to go 570 if I can go to like 130, 133, somewhere in there to the 60 foot. So that is the next goal, is to get the 60 foot to 133. I'll probably not be making any more full 8th mile hits until I get that dialed in. Now, some of you who follow the ODSS circuit are probably saying, why is he talking about 570? They are jumping 590 to 570. I love the change personally. Super happy with it. Is it a big change? No, not really. It's a couple mile an hour, and it allows us to progress as an industry, 1. 2, it evens the stepping stone because it's 670 and then it was 590, which was kind of weird. So we jumped to 570, so it's an even jump. And it gets us closer to Pro Street, because the jump between 590 and Pro Street the last couple of years, you're talking, that's a $200,000 jump. Like, that is a significant jump. You're going from making 1,000, 1,200 horsepower if you're light, or even 14, 15 if you're heavy in a street truck, to having to make 3,000 plus horsepower. That is a massive jump. So we're trying to tame that jump down. They made some changes to Pro Street is now something else with a 470 cap, and then with no weight limit. And then now there's an unlimited, pretty much street class that's 3,600 pounds or heavier and run as fast as you want, up to 180 miles an hour in the 8th, that's like 430. So the 4-wheel drive trucks will not be touching that anytime soon, but we will get there. So that pretty much sums up this video. And the day at the track went pretty well. I mean, had some issues, but that was kind of to be expected. The converter change, I think, was a step in the right direction. I think the old converter was too loose. The new one seems, and it doesn't seem, it is significantly more aggressive. It's way tighter. The truck will almost idle into the trailer, before I had to rev it up to like 2,300 to walk into the trailer. It's a big change. It hits really hard, but I think once we get the balance worked out, it's going to 60 foot really, really well with this chassis. Okay, I know I talked about being done for the year, but got home and all we have is a loose flex plate, so I think we're going to try to get this bounce figured out that we've been having since we switched to the new Mickey Thompson tires. These tires will be better for us in the long run. They're stiffer sidewall. Once you start getting into the mid 5s, the Hoosiers overwrap the sidewalls. At least that's what Paul has experienced. Austin Deutsch went through the same thing. Wyatt Stengel had the same issue. Like, everyone kind of has the issue around the mid 5 mark. So we're going to stick with these tires and get the suspension figured out. That is the plan. But for now, we have loose flex plate. Flex plate came loose, so we have started to pull the trans. Thankfully, all we have to do is slide it back a little bit. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but the flex plate's moving. Like, it's hard to tell. There, that shows you a little better. Yeah, so flex plate bolts came loose, so we're starting to pull the trans. All we gotta do is pop the drive shafts out, pop the cross member out, the bell housing bolts. I already have the converter bolts out, and we're just gonna slide the whole trans back 8 inches, just enough to give us room to put new bolts in. We're gonna try a different bolt setup, because before, these are ARP bolts. They were red Loctited and torque to spec, and double checked that they were torque to spec. So we're gonna try a different setup so we don't have the same issue again. All right, about 15 minutes later, and we have the flex plate out. And hard to tell, but it's pretty gooed up. The threads are fine, the crank's fine, but like on the flex plate where you're seeing this damage here, that's reciprocated onto the crank. So I'm a little nervous about that. I'm gonna talk to some people tomorrow, see if I can get away with sanding the crank and getting a new flex plate. But yeah, that's the damage that we found from the loose flex plate. I'm gonna clean up the crank and I'll show you guys a video of that as well. So now it's a little cleaned up. You can, oh man, if it would focus. Oh, it's really not, there we go. So yeah, not looking the prettiest. here all I'm really doing is I'm checking the run out of the flex plate. So pretty much you don't want the flex plate to be wobbling per se. So that's what I'm checking here, especially with the damage that happened on the flex plate and the crank.
Keep going.
Huh?
So
Keep going.
it's actually a little on the high side. It's about 13 thousandths of run out, a little higher than what I'd like, but I did only have 4 bolts in it, so I was pretty comfortable with where that was at. I knew once I had 8 bolts in, they're all torqued to spec, that it would be much better. Okay, we are still spinning. Very bad. Changing air pressure again. We made a bar change and it seems a little better, but not where I want it. And so now we're gonna drop the limiter another 100 RPMs. I'm just gonna try to keep pulling power out of it. See if it's at least, if I can get it to go down the track, if it will go straight or if it's gonna bounce. I think it's gonna bounce though, I really do. So we're also going to make some tune changes. We dropped to 1125 microseconds, and then on the fuel limiter, we dropped it another 100 RPMs. It should be right around 2850. We were at 2950. So we're going to start there, make some more shock changes and some tire pressure changes and go from there.
Yeah, they're just putters. That's about top speed.
That's pretty cool.
Faster when they die.
All right, guys, we got our 5-second pass finally. The 6.0 curse is broken. It went 597. 139 to the 60 foot on a very, very marginal track. Still bouncing, so I'm pretty confident. One more bar change and we will have it going bottom 130s, like 132 I'd like to get it to. And then put 50 microseconds back in it. Get back to 120. And we should be good to go. Should be real close to 570. What do you think, Kai? Good day?
Yeah, it was very good.
I done fingered it out.
Did figure it out.
All on my own. Okay, now we're done for the year. I promise. No more last minute, let's go to the tracks. So, we're gaining on it. I was only able to make a bar change up one hole because, so half an inch higher on the bottom bar, because the plates where the 4-link bolts to were collapsed in. I didn't have time or the torch to pull them out. So I made the 1 bar change, small changes, definitely started to help with the bounce a good bit. First pass blew the tires off. Second pass, we pulled the 100 RPMs out of the leave and 50 microseconds out of it. And we tightened up the rear shocks on compression. And it, like the change, it made it down the track to a 139 60 foot, which isn't great, isn't bad. Went 597, right where we want it. We did lose the 3 mile an hour, which was to be expected with pulling 50 microseconds out. At that point, we were pulling power out of the truck. Not a big deal. I'm not worried about the time. I'm worried about the 60 foot. The goal with this truck is to make small changes and see that in the 60 foot and 330. That is our #1 goal with it. I think we got to a real good place at the end of this year. now we get to go through and make the truck pretty over winter. So that will be in videos to come. Next video is going to be more so working on this truck, the Duramax. I got some plans for it. I want to make it better for next year, better tow truck, or tow pig, I guess. Clean it up, make it look good. Some color matching, some powder coat, moving some parts off the old truck onto this one. And then some stainless stuff, which is coming in the works for my company. I'm gonna have some stainless intakes, upper radiator hoses, just all in stainless. Nobody does it for L5Ps, so I'd like to do it. Why not? And that's kind of where we're gonna be. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my website for all the products that we sell. And yeah, have a good one.